You know, fun fact about assholes. Am I the asshole for pooping after sex? Wait. Assholes usually don't know when they're being assholes. Hellhole of drama. This story did not go the way I thought it was. Evidence for the court. So it takes people like me to tell the assholes. Your husband sounds stupid. Oh no. Oh no. Update. That they're being a major asshole. Slap me and call me Jehoshaphat. 0 qualifications and barely made it through college. But he's ready to give some unsolicited judgment. Reddit story court is now in session. All rise for me. Judge Tavion A. Thurman is now in court. The A standing for assholes on the rise. And man, do we have some assholes for you today. All right, our first case. Am I the asshole for telling a girl she's not coming to the bachelorette because she can't afford it, after she kept changing her mind and having other people speak for her? Wedding drama. How is it that was supposed to be one of the most happiest days of a person's life is a hellhole of drama? I'm the maid of honor planning an 18-girl bachelorette. God damn, who has that many friends that they care about that much? In January, I started a group chat and put down $7,000 for the Airbnb. Everyone had until March to pay their $375 share. This week, I sent the rest of the budget, $250 due by August 1st. Damn. So they have the initial $375 and then they have another $250 just for the bachelorette. Then I got a text from a girl we'll call A. Hey, it's A. I didn't realize we were going to have to send more money on top of the $375 we sent. I just moved into my first apartment and I have no money to give at the moment or in the next couple of months. Do you want to just give me the $375 back, or is there something we can do for me to still go? Let me know, thanks. Honestly, I kind of understand A right now. I would probably say the same thing if I wasn't aware of this price ahead of time. I replied, I'll send you the money back. She said, okay, thanks. I refunded her, reran the numbers, and updated the group. The next day, I got a text from girl B saying that she and A now want to come just for Saturday. A bit frustrating, but I said okay and adjusted the budget again. Okay, you can get frustrated, but it is fair for the girls to try to fit some time in as bridesmaids to go on the trip, because you want to support the friend that asks you to be a bridesmaid, so I can understand that. It can be frustrating, but at least they're trying to figure out how to be there for their friend. Also, are you talking to your friend at all about this trip? Because I've yet to hear about the bride, one bit. There's another girl in the mix. Okay, girl C had contacted her to ask me to give an extension. I've never met A, B, or C, and I was confused. So I texted A.
Hey, I'm honestly confused. You mentioned you couldn't pay and wanted your $375 back. Then B said you're both coming just for Saturday. And now D is asking C about an extension for you.
I don't like this. I don't like these letters mixing up. Too much alphabet.
I totally understand things can change, but each time they do, I have to redo all the numbers, which is a lot to manage. Can you let me know your final decision so I can plan accordingly? I didn't say I wanted my $375 back. I asked if you wanted to give that to me or if there was something we can do for me to still go, because I want to be there for bride. I didn't ask B to ask for you for me. She just did it, and so did D. Wait. Where did D come from? Oh, okay. So there's communication inside between D and C. That's where D came from. I thought C just straight up asked for an extension, but it's you talk. But wait. A is the person who couldn't necessarily afford it. A backed out per the options the maid of honor gave her. Then A and B discussed going for one day and putting the cost together. And then A talked to C about extension that C went and talked to D about, and D is the one that went back to maid of honor and talked about it. Help me. I think the initial problem here stems from the fact that this is an expensive ass trip for one day. And when I say one day, I'm not talking about the bachelorette trip. I'm talking about this is a lot of expenses for one day of a wedding.
I'll be honest, I never understood a bride and a groom who requires so much payment from other people for their day. I'm just saying. For their day, their memories. The people who are guests and bridesmaids and groomsmen are only going to remember so much of your day, if at all. Maid of Honor responded,
You said, I have no money to give at the moment or in the next couple months. I definitely cannot afford it right now. Do you want to just give me the $300 back? That sounds like a beat around the bush way of asking for your money back.
No, you're putting words in her mouth. She asked you for options. She specifically said, do you want to just give me the $375 back, or is there something we can work out? You, as the maid of honor, could have tried to figure something out, figure out a sort of way where she maybe can be covered and can get paid back, or is everything, all the expenses on the trip necessary? We'll see.
I don't care who asks who. All I care about is your final decision. You didn't ask me for an extension. You did not come to me with a plan. Hey, money is tight for me. Would I be able to send you half of the remaining balance on August 1st or the other half August 15th?
Yeah, but she was asking you because you will be the one to come up with those terms and how it works, because she doesn't know all the details, because you're the only one making this trip, and I don't know if you're necessarily talking to the other people a part of it.
I definitely cannot afford it now or in the next couple months. I'm not a bank. I don't know you. I'm not in charge of her finances.
I'm putting this on the bride, not on you. The bride should have her 18-member bridesmaid party. Get to know each other. Have a dinner. Talk. Figure things out. Not just putting it all on maid of honor and then not having proper communication channels for these people who don't know each other. It's so weird. A response, or is there something we can do for me to still go? Let me know, thanks. Did you not read this? Not beating around the bush at all, but God, why are you being so rude? You could have given everyone a heads up about the price could change or some kind of budget. I understand this is stressful for you, but you do not need to be rude to people, especially people you don't know. I'm good, actually. I just won't go. Hope it's easier for you, LOL. When bride asks why I'm not going anymore, I'll be sure to let her know. Last line that OP texted, you're not going because you can't afford it. When I read this, I am looking at the subtext more than just what is being said.
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
I feel like there's not much discussion going around this trip to everyone around. Maid of honor and maybe bride are planning this trip, but not informing as it's going. They're informing after it's already set. An 18-girl bachelorette. That's crazy. That's crazy. 18? Are all these girls actually bridesmaids, or is it just an 18-girl bachelorette and other people outside the bridesmaid party is coming? That might be it. I'm going to tell y'all from real experience, one of my closest friends just got married, and I was asked to be a groomsman. But as the time was going on, I reached a struggle point to where I couldn't afford the prices that it costs to be a groomsman, and me and my friend talked about it, and I backed out. But here's the difference. I can talk to anyone in the wedding party. There was a group chat between all of us. There was a group chat specifically between the groomsmen, and I can talk to the groom so that we all have an understanding. This sounds like a complete mess of no communication. I'm not gonna lie, OP sounds a little snobby to me. But you specifically asked, am I the a-hole for telling a girl she's not coming to the bachelor trip because she can't afford it? Which I think you're asking for that last comment you made and trying to see if you were actually rude. Well, I feel like we need a little more evidence for that. So, let's look at some of the comments. Everyone sucks. Also, an 18-person bachelorette party sounds like hell on earth to me. Me too. Someone commented, I think you did mostly well, but I think you picked things that massively range in cost and people probably assume they'd be cheaper. So I couldn't find an itinerary. It seems like somewhere there's an itinerary of what actually they're doing, but I see this comment that kind of rubs me the wrong way from OP. About the person she's talking about in this story, she's a last minute invite, not a bridesmaid. So they are inviting people who aren't actually in the bridal party, so that sort of changes it. Bride literally was being nice by extending the invitation. It doesn't matter to the bride if she can't go. So I'm just going to say this. The verdict on this story is everyone sucks here. I think OP is the ass. Not for what she's asking. Am I the asshole for telling your girl she's not coming to the bachelorette party? Bachelorette because she can't afford it. No, I think OP is in general just an asshole. She seems to be very defensive when everyone around her on a trip that she's not communicating well in my purview. Everyone around her not being able to talk to her because she gets this defensive act going on and talking about front flip shit ass backwards, whatever that be, that they're trying to communicate outside of her around this trip to go and support the bride. She's claiming that the bride it sounds like she's trying to say that the bride's taking pity on A to invite her, but if the bride doesn't want her there, the bride wouldn't have her there. So you can't say that for sure, and you're being a little petty. You're being a little petty. On this story, I am gonna give my verdict. And Judge Davion says, against everyone in the Reddit thread that says everyone sucks, my verdict is that OP herself is the asshole for this. And my verdict is law in this channel. Okay, I feel like I need to say that this story comes from Two Hot Takes, which is one of the channels that got me started doing Reddit Story Court. And I don't want to get in any trouble for using stories from their Reddit place, but I really like their stories, and this is an interesting title that I need to see how it turns out. Posted 26 days ago. Am I the asshole for pooping after sex? I don't know where this story is going, but if you have any issues with poop and feces and the remains we give after eating food, I don't think this is a story for you. Hi everybody. I really never thought I would ever be sitting here in my 40s asking a question like this to the internet, but here it goes. So me, 43 female, and my husband, 45 male, have always made it a priority in our marriage to discuss what we are and are not comfortable with sexually, and let one another know if or when those things change, evolve, or just completely disappear. And that is on a healthy marriage. Recently, my husband approached me and asked if I had ever tried or had any opinions on anal sex. The booty duty. I wasn't turned away from the idea, but I said I never tried it and had no idea about any of the logistics to it. He was in the same boat. As I only had 2 other sexual partners before I met my husband, and he only had 1 before me. He explained it was just something he had been wondering about. But, of course, he wasn't pushing me towards anything if I didn't like the idea. I decided I wasn't against trying it out. The 2 of us ended up doing some reading together about the best way to go about it for beginners. From what I gathered, a big part of anal is the preparation beforehand, including using the bathroom, cleaning around the anal cavity with warm water, and sometimes using douche to clear any remaining fecal matter. Please don't go into more detail about this. Just get to the part of this story that's about the title. I don't want to hear about your experience. I don't want to hear about the act. I don't want to hear about the process. Fast forward a week or so, we had a night to ourselves and everything we needed prepared. So we decided it was a good time as any to try it out. I won't go into the detail of it all, but basically things were totally fine while we were having sex. My husband stopped multiple times to make sure I was both comfortable and enjoying myself, which I assured him that I was. And long story short, things ended well. But here's where things eventually went wrong. Less than a minute after we had finished things up, I was suddenly hit with a sensation that I needed to poop. Like, immediately. It wasn't so bad that I couldn't get to the toilet, but as he was standing up from the bed to grab a pair of boxers, I jumped up and bolted into the bathroom without even putting on a robe, which is normally what I wear after sex. I'm so glad that you guys have a routine. You guys have a routine for being intimate. Your guys' sex life is so organized. It is so organized, I respect it. He came to the door concerned and asked if I was alright, to which I responded with a laugh and explained that I had read how anal can sometimes cause sudden bowel movements after the fact, but that I was fine other than sitting naked on our toilet like a lunatic. Is that crazy? Is sitting on a toilet naked crazy? I've done it multiple times. All of a sudden, he got this disgusted look on his face, and noticeably took a step backwards away from me. I asked him if he was okay, but to my surprise, suddenly his disgust turned into almost anger when he said loudly, "There was still pooping." There was still poop in your ass while we were having sex? Brother. This is definitely along the lines of his type of humor, and I was so surprised I thought he had to be joking. So I started laughing and drunkenly said, well, at least it stayed there until you were done. Oh no. Oh no. He started getting more and more agitated, asking me how could I not have known, and why I didn't do a better job making sure she had cleaned everything out. To be clear, nothing was leaking or coming out while we were actually having sex. It was only after that I suddenly just had to go to the bathroom right away. Also, I know it's probably nobody's idea of a good time to get unwanted bodily fluids on them, let alone during sex. But he's not squeamish about that kind of stuff. It got to a point that he actually outright accused me of intentionally trying to screw things up. Then he stormed off and grabbed a pillow and some blankets from our bed, saying he was sleeping downstairs on the couch for the night. Okay, now you're doing too much.
Guys, it's too much!
Did your husband actually do research, or did you just do research and he just was like,
oh, I'll be cool, I'll be fine, nothing can happen to me. I know everything that should and supposed to happen because I'm cool like that.
Dumbass. I tried to call him around his typical lunchtime, but he let it ring until it went to voicemail. I called my sister and tell her what had happened, and she also thought it was a joke, until I told her multiple times that it was completely serious. I ended up leaving a note for my husband saying I went to stay with my sister for a little bit since he clearly still needed time and space before we could talk. That was yesterday. I still haven't heard a word from him. He has never acted like this in any fight we ever had. Am I going insane here? Am I the asshole for needing to poop after sex? Edit. I did want to make a mention that while we were doing the initial research on things, I was mainly the one reading all the stuff involving bodily functions in the aftermath of having anal. Evidence for the court. I knew this man was not doing real research on this and he left it all to her. I think he mainly focused on how to best approach things as the person giving anal. Why? Why would you do that? You need to understand the other person you are being vulnerable with. Your husband sounds ignorant. Your husband sounds stupid. Your husband sounds childish. Did I cover all the bases here? Based on what you're telling me, your husband didn't really do research at all. Because his research should have been about the person, not just himself, but about the person he is giving it to. But him alone, not only doing research about giving it is irresponsible, very selfish. And that I think is the issue that he truly didn't understand what he was doing at all, given how he reacted. OP, you are nowhere close to the asshole, and the judge at Reddit Story Court says so. I was looking at OP's profile. There's an update. It's time to celebrate, cause we got an update. Time to celebrate, cause we got an update. Give him all the glory, we continue in the story. It's time to celebrate, cause we got an update. Am I the asshole for pooping after sex? Update. To get right into things, I stayed in my sister's house for an entire day and night before receiving a text from my husband asking if I would come home so we could talk. I wasn't sure if I was quite ready to forgive him, not just for our entire fight, but also for nearly 36 hours of radio silence to follow. But I wanted to figure out a resolution, and I figured that waiting any longer would be more harmful. After nearly 2 days of no contact with one another, I figured things were calm enough that both him and I could sit down and have a rational adult conversation. To my surprise, when I first walked through the door, I was greeted by my husband tearfully hugging me and apologizing profusely, presenting me with a bouquet of flowers and homemade pancakes from scratch. I was very appreciative of the gestures, and I made sure to inform him that I was. But I reiterated that there's a lot of discussion that needed to take place before I was in place to forgive him. Thank you for not falling for that trap of doing all this stuff, of being apologetic and stuff. Nah, you haven't apologized yet. Don't do all this stuff. Now we haven't even talked yet. I will eat them pancakes later. We talking now. He agreed with me on that, and as the two of us sat down together, I realized I didn't want to start with the question of what specifically made him angry about the night, in case it just frustrated him again. We had a pretty long conversation afterward about communication, such that I won't bore you with, until I finally felt comfortable enough asking why he specifically got so angry with me over something that the entire anal sex having world agrees is not only normal, but expected. I could tell he was sort of embarrassed to answer me. At first, he couldn't really come up with anything to say other than, I just didn't realize it would happen like that. I continued trying to explain everything I read, and I've continued to read about how common of an occurrence bowel movements are after anal sex, until he eventually blurted out, "It's just not usually like that." This is the first time you and your wife had anal sex. Oh no. This is not going good, guys. And the look on his face after he said it told me he realized he shouldn't have. So I asked him what exactly he meant and reminded him this was supposedly a first time thing for both of us. He immediately backtracked and swore that it was. And he started rambling some admission that he's been watching a lot of porn and his brain had just formed a specific idea of how anal usually went. And it was just a reaction out of embarrassment on his part for not expecting it. It was so clear he was lying that it actually shocked me to a point of tears. He was all of a sudden so willing to tell me all about this secret habit of watching porn with anal sex, when before he apparently felt the need to hide it. I told him if he didn't tell me what was really going on, I was going back to my sister's house, and he broke down in tears once again. Eventually, through his fits of sobbing, I got out of him that for over a year now, No. He's been having an affair with his 26-year-old male co-worker. Oh, this story did not go the way I thought it was. He didn't want to try anal with his wife. He wanted to recreate his sexual experience that he was having with his male co-worker. Oh my God, slap me and call me Jehoshaphat. I don't know what to do right now. I know I should continue reading, but I don't want to. Apparently, a few months before that, coworker started at the company. My husband had been questioning whether or not he was bisexual. And after they met, and he found out his coworker was gay, the two of them hit it off and had a whole thing. I generally think he was trying to use this all as some sort of twisted logic to his reaction seemed justified and makes sense. But it honestly made me feel a million times worse than if I just found out he was cheating in general. It had nothing to do with the coworker being a man. It was more the thought that my husband couldn't even enjoy having sex with me as a person on my own, but instead had to make reality as close as it could get. And then imagine it was him instead of me. Oh my God. This is horrible. This is beyond cheating. This is about beyond adultery, because not only are you cheating, you are also actively trying to make your actual partner seem more like the affair partner. That's insanity. That's lunatic more than pooping on the toilet naked. Obviously, I was absolutely devastated and told him I was leaving again, and he continued begging me to stay and asked for us to work on fixing things to get work for what? I told him the time for that was back when he first stated questioning his sexuality, and said I of course have supported him, helped him figure out what that meant for him and for our relationship, but at this point I was having no part of it. Eventually his tears turned to anger once more, and he accused me of being biphobic. Yeah, that's not gonna work, brother. Especially that is a disrespect to people who actually experiences homophobia, biphobia. My sister is literally bisexual and married to a woman. But he didn't say anything to contradict himself after that. I ignored him, gathered some basic essentials before leaving, and headed back to my sister's house, a complete wreck. As things stand now, I am of course planning to divorce. Okay. Yeah, you're not the asshole. You're nowhere close to the asshole. He was just trying to use your asshole. I understand that people may realize their sexuality later in life, and maybe it's not realizing their sexuality, it's being able to be open about your sexuality later in life when you've already sort of tried to tuck that away. But that is no excuse to cheat. You talk to the person you are with, because if the person is okay with you experimenting, maybe that's a way for you to go. But usually you're not going to stay with that person, which is probably why he cheated. Probably most likely outcome is that you will not be in a relationship anymore. I really like this comment, and I have to deliver it a certain way. Newsflash. Flowers and pancakes insufficient in mitigating years-long gay affair. Details at 11. Basically, he thought he was gonna give these pancakes and flowers to her, that they were gonna speak about it, and everything was gonna move forward. He could keep having his affair, and she would just not poop after sex next time. Well, guys, those are the cases for today's Reddit story court. Let me know in the comments what you thought about them, your opinions, if you agree with my opinions, if you agree with the Reddit opinions. Let me know also in the comments if you have any stories you want me to read or that you heard. I would love to be a part of them. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, Reddit story court is dismissed.
You are special, you're the only one like you. There isn't another in the whole wide world who can do the things you do, 'cause you are special.